The Tony Tukumbo Fernandez Show is all about promoting the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers around the world. If there's a product or initiative you wish to share, feel free to give us a call. The number is 0788 280 9005. A very warm welcome to all our listeners around the world. You're welcome to the Tony Tukumbo Fernandez Show, promoting the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers around the world. So if there's a product or initiative you wish to share, feel free to give us a call. The number is 0788 280 9005. That number once again is 0788 280 9005. I'll take time to visit our website at www.tonyfernandez.co.uk. And thank you once again to all our clients and customers in the month of 2022 as we continue to promote the true life stories of people making a difference around the world. And today on the Tony Tukumbo Fernandez Show, we have an amazing gentleman. His name is Mr. Bankole Jones, CEO of the Calabash Business Enterprise Limited, and it also has different facets, and we'll be speaking about that today. So, Mr. Bankole Jones, welcome to the Tony Tukumbo Fernandez Show. Looking rather relaxed in London today. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, Tony, after just watching the football match.
Beautiful, and you look so relaxed.
Thank you.
So before we talk about your amazing initiative in Southeast London, the Calabash Business Enterprise Limited, for the benefit of all our listeners around the world today, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and the things you're most passionate about in life?
Hello, good afternoon again, or good evening, Tony. I'm Bankole Jones. I'm the CEO of Calabash. It's Calabash Business Corporation and Calabash Logistics Limited. So I'm basically an entrepreneur with an MBA in strategic finance and international business, and also an accountant. So when I'm not doing my business, I'm basically chumming numbers for organizations. I specialize in charity with an MSc in charity finance, advise charities and work with charities finance and help them to do their statutory returns, and also donor accounting. So in my quiet time, I focus on my business, which is the Calabash Restaurant is one, and also produce the Calabash magazine, which is a magazine that talks about diaspora activities in the UK, and also at home, how things are getting on back at home in Africa. So merely that's it.
Now, as you may know, the show is all about promoting the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers around the world. I was looking at your website a few days ago and your YouTube clicks, and they seemed quite profound. Can you tell our listeners around the world a bit more about the Calabash brand, most especially with the restaurants and takeaway, and also the magazine initiative?
Yes, thank you. The Calabash brand of itself develops from the magazine. We started the magazine sometime in 2007. We started producing an event-style magazine, and then we moved forward into it, diversified by producing things covering achievers and even we call them unsung heroes, people who are doing well but are not recognized in our community. We start writing about them. We start writing about our own activities like events. We write about our culture. We cover weddings and some of our cultural weddings, and we write about them. We write about sports. We write about education, faith. We interview different people across and write about, and even back home, what activities, things are happening back home, and how we in diaspora, we see things that are happening back home, how we can develop on them. So we comment on that from the magazine. And after years producing the magazine, we think that it would be nice to have something that depicts African cuisine. So then we opened our first restaurant down in Greenwich, the Greenwich Peninsula, Trafalgar Road. Unfortunately, when we took over the lease, around 2019, late 2019, coming to 2020, we have the COVID. So most people, we didn't do a mass opening. So we had to do this restructuring of the venue and start doing takeaway service. So the restaurant built up within that 2 years of COVID through takeaway. And luckily for us, we had brand like Deliveroo, Just Eat, and Uber Eats, who we are quite interested in the brand that we were bringing out. So we signed some partnership agreements with them, and that has kept the restaurant going until now, when things becoming easier, people start socializing. Now we have people coming in to sit and dine and enjoy the flavor of African food. With a Calabash brand, the point of this, we don't focus on one particular brand of food. We make it a twist. We focus our attention into the West African food, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Ghana. And sometimes we do a twist of it, Afrocentric, where we use something like jollof rice. We do something like jollof rice wrap, wherein we use the jollof rice so that the Europeans and people like us, people living here in the UK and abroad, can understand and patronize us as well. We do things like the egusi soup, but all the same, we twist it again, wherein so that people can at least understand it and patronize it as well. So, and that's the way the brand has been developing. We also have a venue downstairs in Greenwich that we hire for birthday parties and smaller intermental groupings. If you want to have a meeting, or you just want to have something like 50 to 60 people gathering together, you could also hire the Calabash Restaurant. So briefly, that's it, Tony.
And I was also coming to that because when you look at the facet of your African restaurant brand, how important do you feel it is today to have that spirit of improvisation and also to think outside the box, maintaining your originality, but also catering from people from different backgrounds. How important is that?
I think it's vital because most of our, because of the busy lifestyle for us in diaspora here, we don't have time to enjoy the uniqueness in some of our African cuisine. And at the same time, we don't want to push it aside. We want to encourage other people to enjoy, that flavor, the African spice. So that's why sometimes we twist the food so that we can introduce and bring in some of our European friends and our own our own kids, the children that are here, so that they have somewhere they can go and eat that food that Mama used to make. You go to, back home that, you miss your Mama's food, but we bring it here so that the kids can come out, and children, other people maybe who don't have time to cook, to say, I can go down to Calabash and have cassava leaf, or I can go down to Calabash and have moi moi. I can take moi moi, or take away, or any other of the local. That's why we focus, just bringing the African cuisine with a twist, encouraging people here to patronize it as well. Tony.
Talking more about your focus now, relating to your core values, what would you say are the core values of the Calabash brand itself? And what's the vision for your future?
The core value is the authentic. We try to make it purely Africa, although we are making a twist on it. We want to maintain it so that there is the standard. One, we are the taste. We don't deviate from the taste that one will say, oh, they're producing it, but it's not really a taste of African food. So we don't want to deviate from that. We want to maintain it, even though we have the twist. We want to keep that value as an African cuisine. So it has the taste that once you say, oh, it really tastes like the African food. So that's one. And then also the culture behind it. So for example, we do serve like palm wine at a restaurant. So, and people patronize the palm wine using the calabash of itself, the container. Instead of using glass, they pour the palm wine in a calabash, in a small calabash, and sip it. That's you're saying, bring in Africa in the UK. Unless you go into Calabash, then you can see. So we just want to keep that value, our culture, and maintain it, although there's a twist into it.
Well, according to many of your customers, what would make Calabash Restaurant different from many African restaurants in the UK?
I think the taste of the food is one, and our service, we're able to relate to our customers, irrespective of background. So when somebody goes into Calabash Restaurant, we talk to them. If I'm there, I will make sure I talk to them. And when they finish eating their food, I always make sure to ask them to say, how does it taste? So there is always that relationship between the staff, the people cooking in the food in the kitchen, and the front of house. So that's it. And we try to make at least within 15, 20 minutes, somebody have their food, or we can provide a bite for them to keep them whilst they're waiting, maybe for their grilled fish or grilled chicken.
How important would you say customer retention is in business today?
That is very vital, because one thing I've learned, or the information I've had from different customers, they said, oh, African kitchen, today they will be nice, and tomorrow they are not nice. So that friendliness, communication, and let somebody feel at home is quite vital to develop. And the taste, for it not to, you always have to maintain the taste so that you're able to bring the customers back, and also to review feedbacks. Yeah, a lot of you can see from our website and other places, you can see a lot of feedbacks. So what I do sometimes, I go through these feedbacks and respond to say, thank you, we hope to see you again, thank you for your feedback. Or when they're in the restaurant, I ask them, please go to the website and give us your review, if they cannot say it to me when they're in the restaurant.
Okay, and we also have your website on the screen now, but I would like you to take 1 minute right now to speak to all our customers listening around the country today, especially those living in Southeast London, Greenwich, and tell them why it's important to pay a visit to Calabash.
Well, To our people and fans that are patronizing Tony's show, please feel free to come down to Calabash Restaurant, especially if you want to taste food of Mama. You know, when you think about Mama Africa, if you're missing that taste, please come down to Southeast 10. It's SE1090X, the Calabash Restaurant and Bar. We are open from 11 o'clock to 12 midnight. And also on Saturday, you can come down and we have a little bit like jazz music or reggae night or African night that you can stay with us till around 1 o'clock and patronize. We have the African drinks and we also African most food from Africa, especially from the west part of Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast. Most of the African meal, you can get it from the Calabash Restaurant in Greenwich.
Also, I would like you to take time to give the full address out to the customers. And for those commuting maybe by bus, to tell them what buses they could use from London to Southeast London, or possibly even train stations.
Yeah, thank you. The full address is 135 to 137 Trafalgar Road in Greenwich, which is SE10 90X. And the closest station is Maze Hill Station. You can either get to Maze Hill Station or sometimes you get to North Greenwich and you pick up the bus 188. It brings you on the opposite side and you come down at Maze Hill Station. Or you can come from the other side, which is the Peckham end. You pick bus 177 and you come down at Maze Hill Station. And that will lead you, just a few minute walk, it will lead you to Calabash Restaurant. And you can also get, if you don't have the time to come down to the restaurant, you can also have your takeaway from Just Eat, Deliveroo, and Uber Eats. You can order online and they will definitely get your meal over to you in a very close proximity. I think we cover up to Lewisham, from that side, Bexley, Eat, and even up to Canary Wharf and some part of Stratford.
Okay, so once again, we have the website on the screen. On a very final note, what message do you have for all our listeners around the world today?
Well, let me say it's an opportunity to come and experience the Calabash Restaurant. It'll be good for you to come with your family, treat your friends, especially at this season, coming to Christmas and in the New Year. We have an African cuisine authentic restaurant and bar in Greenwich, which is right in the center of Greenwich. Please bring your friend and enjoy and patronize and entertain that bit of African culture and African cuisine. You won't miss it.
And keep up the amazing work you're doing at the moment. I'll be sure to visit you when next I'm in London. God bless you and keep shining all the way.
Thank you very much, Tony. Hope to see you. Please feel free. And on a roundabout, we do also the Unsung Heroes Award, which is part of Calabash brand, but we'll find time to talk about that when we have time, when we meet with you, Tony, personally.
That's fine. Keep shining all the way, and God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you.